Hi, this is the final video on assessment for MGT568, title being Addressing Difference, a Leadership Perspective. So this is worth 40%, so it's worth more than any other assessment. However, assessment 3, the information you got from that feeds into this. Certainly all of the assessments that you've done feed into this as well, and all the readings. So it's due on the 7th of Feb. Word length is 2,500 to 2,500 words, and please submit it as a Word document. Thank you. So you're to write an essay that includes the critical analysis and the actions to address issues of unspoken difference in context of your own leadership practice. And again, we go back to assessment 3 and to Simon Weston's insightful statement that gender and ethnicity are differences that are easily identifiable when thinking about diversity strands. But when we reflect on our own organisations or ones that we would know well, it's sometimes difficult, and I'm just paraphrasing here, to describe other differences that exist that create hidden discrimination or tensions, but which aren't spoken about, or sometimes they may be spoken but not a lot. So what you're needing to do is to provide a critical analysis of the issues using theory. So from your engagement on the discussion forum in assessment 3 and the subject literature, make some suggestions as to how these unspoken differences might be addressed with a particular reference to leadership practice. So it's advised that you reflect on your first 3 assessments, using them to inform your diagnosis and actions for change. So the steps, always follow the steps. So the focus of this essay is to describe and reflect on what you've learned about difference and leadership in the context of your own leadership practice and your identity as a leader. So when writing on unspoken or hidden issues of difference and discrimination, make sure you introduce theory to aid your exploration of the tensions and the broader issues that they raise, and how the literature on theory and practice addresses these challenges. So the focus is not on developing diversity programs for your organisation, and I'm going to reiterate this again. Rather, it is on the actions that you and your organisation can take in the context of leadership practice. Follow the report format headings. Always put a title page to start off with your student name, number and the title of the assessment. It's really good practice to put page numbers in, because when you automatically, which is quite easy to do, generate a table of contents, the page numbers will show up. An introduction, and then you will do the critical analysis of the issues of difference and discrimination, and this is using the theories that you've learned in this subject and more widely. Then address the challenges. Addressing these challenges, what are the leadership actions that you're going to take, and then a conclusion. And finally, make sure that you use the APA 7th style reference for reference lists and for in-text referencing. I know I sound like I'm rabbiting on, however, this is something that continually comes up. Critical analysis of issues of difference and discrimination. So this section is concerned with you identifying the issues from your learning and reading in the subject and reading more widely, and applying the appropriate theories that you have learned as a lens to analyse the situation in your organisation, or it might be in the community or whatever. So there's some resources there that may help you. Critical reading and critical thinking. I urge you to have a look at those, because they have some examples there as well as to how you go about that. I've also included an exemplar from under assessment 4 from a previous year. The report structure is slightly different because the assessment was slightly different, but in essence it's the same. Then finally, let's go back. As I said previously, we'll talk about the leadership actions that you're going to take. So it's important that you address the issues from your own leadership perspective as a starting point. Whilst it's important to identify ways, structures, processes, etc. to address or approaches the issues in your organisation, this is not the primary focus of your report. That is, please do not develop a diversity program for your organisation. Firstly, what are the leadership actions that you will take to address the issues? What are the leadership actions and leadership development that you wish to foster or implement with others in the organisation to address the issues? And then you may wish to consider recommending appropriate processes, programs and structures in your organisation to address the issues. And finally, read the marking criteria and follow the report structure, just to make sure you cover everything, because quite often I'll get beautiful essays from someone and they haven't actually addressed the tasks, the steps, and they haven't written to the marking criteria, and you may miss out one whole section as a result. And when you miss out a whole section, that section may be worth 30%, and that can considerably bring down your mark. So an academic essay that may have been worth a distinction may end up being a credit or a pass. So make sure you take the time to do this. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to email me in the first instance, and I'll repurpose any pertinent assessment questions to the assessment column in the subject notice board. And we can also discuss these at online meetings, and in each online meeting before the assessments are due, we always go over them as well. So thank you for listening again, and that's the last video for MGT568 assessment.